Hi everyone, my name is Shauna, in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing the running book tag. There's 6 questions on this tag, and each question is based around a different competitive distance for running. Well, I suppose you could do them non-competitively, but these are typical, race distances. So, a little personal background about me before I dive into the bookish part of this video. I actually was a competitive runner from my 6th grade year in school to my 9th grade year in school. Some complications arose when I was in the 10th grade and I had to give up competitive running. So I initially started out doing long distance, and then I realized my body hates long distance running, and I was like, why am I forcing myself to do this? So I switched to shorter distance running. The thing that sucks is I'm better at long distance running. Literally sucks that I enjoy doing something that I am worse at, because it would be nice if I enjoyed long distance running and I could keep doing a little better on that one. Anyways, the distances that I competed in, going from the smallest number to the biggest number, is 200 meter, 400 meter, 4x400 meter, 800 meter, 1500 meter, 3000 meter, and 5K. So I wasn't like the best runner. There was like one time in middle school where I placed second in a race and I was so proud of myself, and then I was like, I only placed second in the race because there wasn't that many really fast people in that race, but I'll take anyone that I can get. And for a while there, I was one of 2 kids in my age competing in the 1500 meter, so I would place second a lot and third a lot in that race. Third because eventually another person joined. So I was never like very good, but I do have a few ribbons for my time doing track and cross country. So I basically wanted to give like a little background to my history with running to understand why like this tag is a fun tag for me personally. So the first question is the 100 meter, which I never did competitively because I can't get my speed up that fast in 100 meters. This one says, which book or books have you read in one sitting? So most of the books that I read in one sitting are books that are novellas, graphic novels, or mangas. So some ones that are coming to mind right now is the Divergent series. Has a bunch of novellas. Obviously the Divergent series is by Veronica Roth. I do highly recommend that you read the Divergent series before reading the novellas, and it has a bunch of those, so I've read those ones. The Maze Runner series has one called the Maze Runner Files that I've read. The Castor Chronicles series has some. So the Castor Chronicles series starts with Beautiful Creatures, and it's by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stohl. And then also there's the spin-off series Dangerous Creatures, which has spin-off novellas as well. I've read all of those novellas, and I read each novella in one sitting. What are some other ones that I've read in one sitting? I've read manga in one sitting, so I've read a lot of Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Sailor Moon, all of those fun ones. And then for graphic novels, because that's the other genre that I mentioned that I read in one sitting, Cheer Up Love and Pom Poms, Bingo Love. So there's a lot of books I've read in one sitting, but they are never very long because I'm not very good at sitting and binge reading books. So it's mainly just the shorter books that I can sit and binge read in one sitting. Question number 2, the 5K. Which books or book series do you read for a quick bit of fun? I read the Witch series for a quick bit of fun. Like, it's a guilty pleasure of mine because it's a kid series and I feel like I shouldn't be reading it anymore, but they're just so fun and cute, so I just read it, and they're like quick. I can read them in one sitting sometimes too. The Witch series basically follows this group of 5 friends, and they get like superpowers, and they are trying to protect the earth from these creatures that are coming out from this like other universe, and they're also trying to figure out how to get their friend back because one of their friends went missing. So yeah, it's a good series, and I feel like not enough people remember it, but the people who do remember it feel so much nostalgia with it. It was like a chapter book series, which is the ones that I've been reading a lot of. There was a graphic novel series. It was also a TV show for a little bit. McDonald's had toys for this series. Like, it's such a cute and fun series, but I'm so surprised that people nowadays don't know about it as much. Question number 3, the 10K. What is the longest standalone book you have read? That is actually a good question, and I'm actually going to pull up Goodreads to see if it can help. The thing is, I think the longest one that I can think of off the top of my head that I've read is a standalone as of this moment. Like, it's marked as it's going to be a series eventually, but there's been no word on the sequels. Does that one count? While Goodreads is loading, I just want to mention my cat is off the camera. So if you hear purring, meowing, if my camera randomly moves in the middle of filming, I blame Luna. She's such a sweetheart, but she doesn't understand that sometimes you just need to film. I'm always so scared messing with like Goodreads shelves because I'm scared that I'm gonna mess it up and then like all of my reviews will disappear, because sometimes I mess around with Goodreads and I'm like trying to edit previous reviews or just change things. The next thing you know, it deletes a bunch of my reviews. So come on, Goodreads, fix your stuff. So I organized it based on longest to shortest page number count, and it's pulling up a lot of series. So I'm just gonna keep scrolling until I find one that is a standalone. I'm going to talk about two. The first one that I'm going to talk about is The Host by Stephenie Meyer. This is marked as a 3-book series on Goodreads. However, there has been no word about the second 2 books in the series, so I'm not like super convinced that we're going to get second books in the series, and if we do, it is definitely not going to be anytime soon. So this is currently a standalone. This has 858 pages. So in case you don't know the plot of The Host, it is about an alien invasion in which the aliens go into like human bodies, and you can tell that they're aliens based on their pupils or like their eyes, because they have like a different mark in their eyes, so it's easier to tell they're aliens. However, the main character, her human host, is talking to her in her head. And so the alien feels compelled to go and try and find the boyfriend of the human who's also in the body. So it's an interesting story and I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars because I just feel like it's really long. But like the movie, I loved it so much. The book, I love the majority of it. So yeah, that is currently the longest standalone that I have read. However, since it is listed as a series, even though no word on the sequels yet, I am going to try and see what the next longest standalone that I've read is. Okay, it's pulling up a book that I don't really remember anything about, and it's called Wonderstruck, and it is by Brian Selznick. I remember reading this one because I loved Hugo Cabaret. What's the full name of that book? The Invention of Hugo Cabaret. I read that one when I was like 9 or 10, and then when I was in middle school I found out about Wonderstruck, so I decided to read it. However, I don't remember this book at all, but it is 640 pages. I just don't remember anything about it. All I really remember is that Brian Selznick is known for having tons of pictures in with his writing, so you can go through his books really quickly, and I feel like the pictures are what really stands out about his books. It makes his books unique from other books. So yeah. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 4, The Half Marathon. What is the first trilogy or book series you ever read? Junie B. Jones. That was like the series that got me into reading. I wish I had some cool answer like Harry Potter or Hunger Games or something. No, it's Junie B. Jones by Barbara Park. And I got into that series when I was in kindergarten. My kindergarten teacher started reading it to us. And I remember specifically there was one book that was like the monster under her bed or something like that, and it scared the kids in my class. And so my teacher was like, we're not going to be able to finish this one because it's scaring some kids in the class. Like, she had gotten emails from parents, so she switched on to another Junie B. Jones book. And I remember it didn't scare me. I want to finish that book. And so I ended up getting an audiobook version of that book and finishing it, and then I was hooked on reading Junie B. Jones by myself. So I picked up the physical books and I read a ton of them, plus we were reading them in my class. I was obsessed. Junie B. Jones is like sort of like a modern classic of like young girl stories that get kids into reading. Question number 5, The Marathon. What challenging book would you recommend that would be immensely rewarding? When I think of challenging, what comes to mind most of the time is like long page count for books, but I'm actually going with one that doesn't have a long page count, and I'm going with one that I had to read for my class recently. It's challenging for 2 reasons. First of all, it's challenging because of the content matter. It has some very intense content matter that can be hard to read at times, and it's also challenging because it has long passages about hockey, which is not for everyone. But I still think that this book is really rewarding, and it is one of the best books about residential schools that I've read. This book is called Indian Horse. It is by Richard Wagamese. So I read Indian Horse for a class that I am taking summer term, and I really liked this one. It is like hard to get through at times. It is challenging because of content matter and hockey again, but it is such a fantastic novel. It teaches about the reality of residential schools. It teaches about alcoholism and treatment for alcoholism. It teaches about going back and addressing childhood trauma. So I think it's a really good book that I think will be immensely rewarding for people to read. You just have to push through those long hockey sections. Also, there is a movie The movie cut some stuff out of the book. I want to be fully aware of that, but the movie is also more graphic. So I would recommend the book instead, but the movie is pretty good. Just like, here's the thing. There's lots of like suicides in here. And the movie like very graphically shows that, while the book doesn't do it as graphically, so I found the book was more like manageable for me to get through with the content matter. But it is a really good book, so I do recommend it to people, even though I did have a couple issues with it, like the hockey, but I do think that this book is a really worthwhile and rewarding book to read. And finally, question number 6, the Ultra Marathon. What is the longest book series you have ever read? So book-wise, like if we're not including graphic novels and mangas, it's Harry Potter, which is currently sitting at 8 books. There is also the 3 Fantastic Beasts screenplays, so a spin-off of the Harry Potter series. That's probably the longest like book series that I've read. Now, I am also reading the Circuit of Freaks series, and I'm in the middle of that, and once I finish that, that will be the longest book series that I've read, because I believe that is 12 books, and I'm into book like, I think I just finished book 9. I think I have to do book 10 next. So I'm pretty far in that series, but I'm not done with it yet, so I won't count it. I also read a lot of manga, as I mentioned in this video, so Attack on Titan would be the longest manga series that I've read. So Attack on Titan is 34 volumes, and I have read all of it. So my answer for this is Harry Potter and Attack on Titan, because those are the longest series that I've read. So yeah, that was all for this 6-question tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. I have tons of bookish content up on my YouTube channel, so if you're interested in watching more bookish content from me, go ahead and check out my past videos. I'm sure there is some for everyone. I hope all of you are having a great month, and I will see all of you in my next video. Until next time, goodbye!